Oh, hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. Well, today I want to revisit one of my very favorite songs of all time by one of my very favorite songwriters of all time, and this is MacArthur Park by the wonderful Jimmy Webb. Now, Jimmy Webb has always been a very unique songwriter because his approach to chordality, his approach to musical harmony and vocal harmony has always been very, very him. You know when you're listening to a Jimmy Webb song almost the minute that you listen to it, which is not to say that all of his songs are the same, quite the opposite. He's got a variety of songs that can be classed in various genres, from psychedelic to classic pop to country and western to rock and roll to your traditional sort of modern sort of post 60s singer-songwriter genre and everything in between. And one of the reasons that he's so identifiable yet so diverse in terms of his styles is that he truly understood music inside and out, which is not to say that other songwriters didn't, but he approached music from a very particular place in mind that really helped to shape his place in time. Now, Jimmy Webb burst onto the songwriting scene, if you will, in the early and mid 60s, and this was an era of great transition in the songwriting world, in the music world, moreover, but in particular in the songwriting world. Before this time, we saw the classic pop model, and this had its own pipeline of song creation to song arrangement to performance to recording to the audience going, yay. Now, this model essentially worked as follows. You would have one or two songwriters, and many times the lyricist and the songwriter was different. Not always, but this was very, very common. Then the song would be taken to an arranger who would work with a performer who would cut the track with session musicians and put it out either as a single or on an album. Now, by the late 60s, that model had very much changed, and it had changed in favor of the singer-songwriter, the man or woman who would write their own songs, perform it with their own arrangement, and then allow others to pick up on it and do their own version, sometimes arranging it themselves as fellow singer-songwriters doing a cover, sometimes in the hands of arrangers. Now, Jimmy Webb came into the music world right when these two models of creating songs were changing. And it probably helped Jimmy to survive this change that he had an understanding of music and of chordality that was thoroughly modern and very much future looking. When you listen to a Jimmy Webb song even today, it doesn't necessarily sound like it's from any particular era, and it's the kind of song, and this is my sort of test for what makes a great song, where if you put it in a completely different kind of arrangement, it would stand the test of time. If it can stand the test of being performed in different genres, different arrangements that are implicit in those genres, it can then de facto stand the test of time. And that is true for just about every Jimmy Webb song. Now, MacArthur Park, they say, is a quintessential 60s song. The original version, sung by Richard Harris, for whom it was written and arranged, came out in 1968. And the arrangement, they say it's 60s, but I actually think that it's quite timeless because it's very heavily orchestrated. There's harpsichord, a big brass section, really interesting percussion stuff going on, and it really is like a little symphony, in not only because of its duration being significantly longer than your average pop song, but because it has different moods and different movements that it explores. The lyrics, while some think are psychedelic, they actually told a real story of a cake being left out in the rain during a picnic at MacArthur Park, a very real place in LA. And Jimmy Webb was there. He observed this whole scene and he turned it into a song. Now, the song immediately grabs your attention because it's got those wonderful chords that just continue to build and build in terms of suspense before then releasing. And the minute there's this catharsis, the minute there is this chordal release, a new musical theme is introduced, which leads into the new movements of the song. It's an incredibly sophisticated song, yet, as a credit to Jimmy Webb, like many of his songs, they're deceptively simple. If you understand understand music, you know that he's doing some super complicated things. But to the untrained ear, to the ear that just wants to emote and experience things, it's something totally new and totally novel and totally interesting. And that's why I think MacArthur Park is one of those songs that really has stood the test of time. It's simply one of the best songs ever written, and it's been sung by so many different people in so many different styles. Again, passing this arrangement test. Donna Summer did a disco version. The Four Tops did a sort of soul R&B version. Frank Sinatra and Andy Williams and Sammy Davis Jr. did their sort of classic pop reimagining of the song. Glenn Campbell has performed it with Jimmy Webb. Great friends and great collaborators they were. And he does a shredding rock and roll guitar solo, one of his very best in the multiple live versions that they've done together. So it's one of those songs that works no matter how you change it. You can bend it, but you can't break it. And that to me is the sign of one of the sign of a great song, and the fact that Jimmy Webb was able to create this masterpiece that is literally so different than any other song before and after, including different than any of his, is a sign that it's just something that we all, frankly, have to love, at least if you ask me. As always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.